The Los Angeles Rams off of the bye week and staying at home and sitting at a 1-4 record, hosting the Las Vegas Raiders, who are sitting at 2-4. This game, SoFi Stadium, 1:05 p.m. on CBS. We get Kevin Harlan and Trent Green on the call. Melanie Collins will be on the sideline. And again, forgot to take a peek here at the distribution map, so we'll go ahead and pull that up while I just kill time here. We get Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, though. That is the second time that we've been on the CBS broadcast, as our most recent game, the Packers game, being at SoFi. That was also a CBS game. This one makes a little bit more sense considering that it is an AFC team on the road. NFC at NFC, that didn't make a lot of sense, but also I think that that rule is kind of done now. I don't know if they still do that as strict as they used to, but yes, Vegas at the Rams. This is a late kickoff, of course, in the green zone, so not a large area. We got a couple of interesting pockets. Minnesota will be checking us out. Same with Indy, Detroit, Atlanta, Miami. So some big NFL cities will be checking out the Rams. But as far as mass appeal, maybe not as much. For you bettors out there, the Rams are sitting at -7. It opened at -7. Last I checked, 6.5. -330 on the money line. You're over/under sitting at 43.5. It's time to get into our pants picks, as the Rams will be in the royal jerseys this time around. Second time we'll be seeing the royal jerseys. Again, second week in a row for the royal jerseys as well. Looking at the pants picks, Rams house tied it up last time, going with the bone pants and absolutely nailing it. And me and Peo time, we went with royal last time as well, and we're doing it again. We're feeling pretty good about it. Drop the pants picks below. What color pants do you think the Rams will be rocking on Sunday? Yo, participate, dude. This game is super fun, and for no reason at all. Pants picks. It's a big thing. Sweeping the nation. So the Rams are coming off their bye week last week, so do it a little bit of time to kind of heal up, lick some wounds, heal some bruises up. But you know what? Now it's time to get back into action. The Raiders, they're coming off of a 13-32 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, their second straight loss, scoring in the teens, giving up in the 30s. So the previous one was against the Denver Broncos. Rams turned around quick on Thursday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings. So you can't really have that sitting in your head, though. If you are the Rams, you can't be sitting there thinking like, oh man, we should probably be soft in this one. We got a game in a few days. Can't be thinking like that. Doubt anybody is. Feels like a fan thing that fans would be like, we should probably relax because we got a game coming up, you know. Probably not what's going on in the locker room, though. The Raiders hosting the Chiefs next week, so they could technically, I guess, going with the same mindset, but probably not going to. Rams, by the way, have given up exactly 24 points in their last 3 games. So score more than 24, and I think we will be all right. Score more than 24. Let's start the hashtag. Some injuries, though. No word yet officially on Cooper Kupp, but it does sound like he's in a spot where he might play against the Raiders this weekend, which is extremely exciting. I've always kind of, when he went down and he didn't get put on IR, I kind of was looking at the Minnesota Vikings game as like the one of like, okay, that would be a good game, because even if he's in that game and kind of struggling a little bit, then we can pull him back. We get a mini bye with an extended break after that before going up to Seattle. And then we get an extra day because our next home game after that Seattle trip is a Monday Night Football game against the Miami Dolphins. So that stretch that we are in right now is a little bit ideal. And so to force Cooper Kupp back early, I don't think is necessary. Is that what we're doing? Maybe not. Maybe he's feeling fine, because if he's feeling okay, then you're not putting him back in early. You're just getting him in there when he's healthy. So I don't agree with the like, hey, we're rushing him back. Well, yeah, kinda, because hey, we're paying that guy a lot of money to catch some footballs, and he's really good at it. we could use him for sure to do that. But I think that overall, I was kind of looking at that Vikings game, Thursday night game. That makes a lot of sense. I think if we do see that, I wouldn't be stunned by it. I would imagine that the reception on social media probably going to be pretty negative about that, because we're all just excited to see Cooper Kupp back. But that's kind of what we're looking on now. Still some weeks on Steve, John, and Puka. That would be Avila, John Johnson, and Nakua, of course. Jonah Jackson should be a little bit after that. And if as far as the offensive line goes, I'd imagine that Steve is going to return first. He's going to be slotted in at left guard, while Bo Limmer stays at center until Jonah Jackson returns And then I think that we could see a mix-up there as far as the center and left guard goes once Jonah Jackson's back. I don't know if the Rams will want to move Jonah to center or to move Steve over to center. But Jonah, if Steve's rocking at left guard and he's killing it out there next to Bo Limmer, Jonah Jackson might come in and just take over that center role as to not to mess with any continuity when it comes to that. Limmer, by the way, speaking of continuity on the Rams Revealed this week, top tier stuff. Got to check that one out. Bo Limmer, man, that guy's awesome. I didn't realize he's bigger than I thought he was. And I don't know if in my brain I was just like, he is Brian Allen. And I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but now I can't get out of my head. The literally same number, too, is Braden Fisk. Looks exactly like Brian Allen to me. Can't get it out of my head. And when I see him running around, I'm like, what is Brian doing out here playing defense? Too many beers is what that means. But kind of some things that we're looking here for this game. And I will say this, and this seems to be the trend that is being echoed throughout the internet hallways of the Rams world. And that is that the gap between the Rams in last place of the NFC West and those two teams up top, not very big. And those two teams up top also aren't playing very good football. So it seems to me that the trend is, hey, yeah, we might be 1-4, but we are right there. We're one loss behind those guys. They're what, 2-3? We're sitting here. We're so close to, I'd have to look at it again. I don't have it in front of me, but we're sitting right there. All right. We are sitting right there. And it does kind of feel like this Rams team is not as bad as it's getting credit for. If that makes any sense. Like, Rams fans are done on the season, it seems like. Overall, on the average Rams fan. If there was an average Rams fan, we would create this person, I think, just to have it. But like an average Rams fan thinks that, hey, we're 1-4, burnt down, maybe we'll be back next year. I'm sitting here thinking, like, we are not that far away from first place. We could win this division. we could host a playoff game. What did we talk about? Season's over, dude. We could win 3 games and be in first place. A pretty good deal to me, man. Pretty good deal to me. Maybe I'm alone, but all things considered, I just don't think that we've been playing that bad. We have one game that wasn't one possession game. That was the Arizona Cardinals game. And it kind of seems like Arizona was like, we are not going to lose to the Rams again. We will do anything. And they came in ready to play. Give them credit, man. Give them credit. They came in, they played a good game. But it also did kind of have vibes of, this is their Super Bowl. This is what they're living for. They're living to beat us. The last time before in Arizona that the Cardinals had beaten the Rams was Aaron Donald's rookie season. So it's been a bit, and it feels like those fans and that whole team was just ready to kind of turn it up against the LA Rams. But we traded away our last remaining captain right before the season, and that's kind of my comments on the fact that the Rams are not playing as bad as I think they're getting credit for. Because the defense, in fairness, rankings, all that stuff, bad. Run defense, bad. But again, we traded away our last remaining captain, an inside linebacker, right before the season started, and tossed in a couple of dudes who, let's face it, aren't the guys. They're just not. Troy Reeder and Christian Roseboom are just simply not the guys to hold down that job long term. They're filling in. That's what we got right now. There are temporary guys, and I think that once we kind of understand that and kind of accept that, it will be a lot easier to kind of watch them play because, and I've got no interest in trashing these guys. As long as they are our linebackers, I wish nothing but the best for them. I don't hope that they do well just so I can tell some other fan, like, see, I told you that guy can't tackle. I don't want that at all. I'd rather be like, dang, I was wrong about Christian Roseboom. That guy's a monster. I would way rather say that I'm wrong and have these guys be awesome than me sit here and be like, well, see, I told you. They're just not very good. Yeah. So I just don't understand what good that does for anybody. But they're playing about as well as we could expect them to, considering we traded away our captain and captain of that position group, the team leader of our defense, right before the season, and then told them, like, yeah, you're our guys now. That's a tough ask, man. That is a tough ask. I don't care how talented those guys are. In 5 games, that's about what we should expect from that. And I went into the season knowing that the first 5 weeks until the bye week, kind of our preseason. Now that's over. Now it's time to start making some tackles. Stop missing so many tackles. Stop whiffing on the quarterback. Stop getting blown back by offensive linemen. Time to start making some plays. All right, now it's time to really get it rolling, all right? Well, without Kupp and Puka, though, the offense is kind of impossible to assess. It does just feel like we're missing two guys who can run routes and catch insane footballs and have an absurd connection with our quarterback. Feels like that's exactly what we're missing, which is oddly enough exactly what Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua bring to the table. So obviously we're missing them. Getting them back will be huge, but our offense, we can't judge our offense until those guys are back. I think we're even top half technically as far as rankings go. We're top 12 in passing the football, and those guys are just going to make us better. We're a top 5 unit when those guys are on the field. Change my mind. You won't be able to. And the offensive line also playing, I think, as well as we could hope for them to play. I think they're playing better than I had hoped, considering the injuries along that front. Obviously, having our tackles back in AJ and Big Rob on the outside, obviously that's absolutely massive. We still got Limmer and Brusso playing on the inside, so once we can get Jonah as well as Steve back on that offensive line, I'm feeling pretty nice about it. And then at which point do we have to kind of just understand that, like, hey, our offense is the one carrying it. All right. Defense, just do your best. Offense, put up as many points as it can. All right. Is kind of where it feels like we are going to enter as we get into the middle of this season. But maybe it's just me being a bit of a homer, being like, hey, we're not that bad. You know, maybe, because we're also 1-4, and the name of the game is winning football games. And if you're not winning football games, you're not doing a good enough job. The whole ideas of like those years where the Jags lost like 14 games, but all by like 6 points, and it's like, well, yeah, you're close, but you either turn the corner or shut up about it, because no one cares about you how close you were. Like, dude, did you see we almost won 14 games? Nobody's gonna care about that whatsoever. So that's. Obviously, maybe I am just being a little too homery when it comes to these LA Rams. But a struggling Raiders team who just traded away their top weapon, Crosby. He said that that Devontae and he were a package deal, and also this trade coming in, heading into Week 7 here is timing-wise, it kind of feels a little bit like the Raiders are packing it in, and I wouldn't be surprised if by the time this game is played, Max Crosby is not a member of the Raiders. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't necessarily think that anything's imminent, and maybe that comes in a few weeks or something, but I don't think it's impossible. Raiders are going through some changes, though, and again, they just changed their quarterback. They went from Gardner Minshew to Aiden O'Connell. They traded away their top weapon. They're packing it in. They just are. The evidence is there. They didn't put in Aiden O'Connell because they were like, if this guy starts playing, though, watch out. Like, that was not the case about the Raiders. And then obviously you trade away your top weapon. He didn't want to be there, all that stuff. It's a mess. But either way, 2-4 doesn't exactly sound sexy, but it's a start and it's a move in the right direction. You can't get to 500 without getting to 2-4 first, or, even like 2-5, I guess, is technically, in there. But we got to start stringing together a few of these. Not really worried about looking at playoff races yet and, where the Rams are in the wild card. So we're closer on talking about top draft picks than playoff spots right now. So we'll kind of get there as we get a little bit of clarity as the season kind of unfolds and where we're going to be slotted on, power rankings and overall standings and all that stuff. But overall, I think right now it's just like, hey, get the wins you need to get. And a Raiders game at home, off a bye, a game you have to win. Just simply have to win this game. Let's take a look at the matchup on this one. Rams offense against that Raiders defense. In total yards, Rams are 15th in the league, so yeah, technically upper half there. The Raiders defense, though, 13th in the NFL, giving up just about the same amount of yards as the Rams are gaining, so that's about right? Passing the ball, Rams are a 12th ranked unit. Raiders defense, 7th in the NFL. Running the ball, the Rams are creeping up here, 97.4 yards a game. That's 27th in the league, but the Raiders defense, 24th against the run. Calling all Kyrens, dude. Time to tear it up, dude. Points being scored. Rams putting up almost 19. That's tied for 22nd. And the Raiders giving up a little over 27. That is tied for 27th. Third down, the Rams offense, 17th in the league, picking up a little over 40%. And the Raiders defense, 3rd in the NFL, giving up under a third. Giving up 30.1%. That's absolutely awesome. Numbers wise, that's wildly impressive. The Rams coming off of a game against the Green Bay Packers where they went 12.5% on third down, the Green Bay Packers did. So easily the best day for the Rams on third down. But obviously we've got to keep that trend going because, yeah. Oh, wait, I'm on the wrong side here. So I'm looking opposite side there. So, yeah, the Raiders defense, though, doing a good job getting off the field. But the Rams offense, truly just missing superstars. I think I've hammered that point enough. I think that you guys understand what I'm trying to say when I say the Rams are missing Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Those are superstar wide receivers in the NFL. Top 10 guys individually in this league, and we've been down them for this season so far. So, obviously, we're just missing some guys. The hope was that a Tutu or a D-Rob would just explode and show that they are absolutely capable of being the top guys. And it just didn't really happen. None of those guys are really shining. No one's playing poorly. No one's doing a bad job. D-Rob had a sweet catch off to the sideline against the Packers. Tutu's had his flashes for sure. But not an overall explosive game, but he's had moments in games over the course of the season that has been really good. But no one's playing bad, but no one's lighting it up, right? It just feels like Kyren and Matthew are just kind of doing their best to keep things moving, and then we get some flashes here and there from other guys. That's kind of what I'm feeling right now. The Rams' offensive line has really been fine, so it certainly can be better, but I think that's not the problem. I think it is really just a lack of weapons. When you lose a 17 and a 10 out of your offense, you're worse. That's just the way it is. You're a worse offense. It's not to say that that we can't, get some big plays, get some wins. We literally beat the Niners, but I think overall we are just really missing those weapons. It's not Stafford. It's not Kyren. It's not the line. It's our weapons. And Higgs as well. Let's not forget about Tyler Higbee, who could be back rather soon also, but I think overall we're just looking at the three guys in 89, 10, and 17 who have the most continuity with Matthew Stafford are currently out. And so obviously that's not a recipe for fat dubs. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the Raiders' run defense does present an opportunity for the Rams to establish the ground game. So Kyren Williams could be able to get it rolling this week in a very positive way. Your best matchup in this one, I'm looking at Maxx Crosby versus Big Rob Havenstein, man. Anybody to get this matchup, Rob Havenstein's exactly who we hope, right? Like, if we got to play against Maxx Crosby, who I think is incredible, one of the top players in the league, just an absolute monster. I've got nothing bad to say about Maxx Crosby, except for I hope he loses this weekend. But other than that, I mean, if he came to the Rams, I'd be fired up, dude. I think he's an incredible player, an incredible dude, too. So, Maxx Crosby, though, against Big Rob. Big Rob is the guy on our offensive line that can handle that. It helps that K-Dot is next to him as well, so we'll kind of see those guys getting a heavy dose of Crosby all day long. But I think that if it's got to be anybody, I like that it's those guys, But Maxx Crosby, obviously, one of the elite pass rushers in the NFL. But Big Rob, he's been just so quiet over there at right tackle for years. We just never hear 79. He's just over there doing his thing. He maybe gives up some pressures here and there, maybe a sack every once in a while, but he just quietly is just a brick wall on the right side. I absolutely love it so much. So cool. Your 3 to see on the Rams offensive side, we're going to start with Blake Corum. That is right. We got to see him against the Packers, and I'd assume that does mean he is past Ronnie Rivers, Mr. Rivers, on the depth chart, and we'll see him a little bit more, but I suppose this week will confirm or refute that if we are seeing Blake Corum be ahead of Ronnie Rivers now on the depth chart, but Blake did look smooth, and I gotta say, it looks like he just needs some reps to get some rhythm, but he looks a lot like Kyren, dude. There was one play, and I just rewatched the game, but from where we were sitting, where I saw the run happen, it was coming towards us, and I was like, oh, that's a good move by Kyren. And then he gets up, and I look up at the screen, and I see 22, and I was like, no way, dude, it's Blake. I was super excited about it, man. But Blake does look good, does look like Kyren. Kyren looks good, so I guess that's fair. Blake Corum getting some reps now, man, and that's pretty exciting because I think we do need some kind of spark, whether or not we get Puka or Kupp back this week. Puka in a few, but we just need a spark. So maybe he's a guy that can provide that. Next up is Colby Parkinson. Just feel like this could be a little bit of a tight end game out of the Rams offense. Parkinson definitely doing his part. I kind of felt like he would have gone off a little bit more by now. Not necessarily doing a bad job again like some of the other guys. And I'm trying to really hammer that I'm not saying that these guys are doing a bad job, because there has been some comments here and there about like, what do you mean this guy hasn't exploded? He had that big catch. And it's like, yeah, it was one play, dude. Like, give me a big game at least, not just a big quarter or something. You know what I mean? But Colby Parkinson, he's not playing bad. I just was hoping that he would be something different than he is right now. And maybe, in fairness, when Higgs comes back, Big Rig Higgs comes back, then Parkinson being a 2, maybe that's where he'll thrive. So I think that all things need to be considered there. Last up on the 3 to see here on the Rams offensive side, we're going to Tutu Atwell, the 2-2 train. Leads all Rams in receiving yards and going against a team he could definitely take some advantage of. That failed 2-point conversion last week hopefully doesn't mean the Rams stray away from those, jet sweeps or anything like that. I know that there was one earlier in the game that Tutu had a decent pickup on, but I think overall we just need to see that more, and I like it. I like it a lot. And I just think we need to see the blocking of 10 and 17 out to help spring those a little bit. Again, another area where we're missing these guys. It's not just picking up 3rd and 5 on a cup slant or anything like that. It's the blocking. It's a lot of things. It's taking the attention away from this linebacker so that Tutu can get free and stuff like that. There's so many moving pieces to it, and yeah, I can't hammer it enough. We are missing 10 and 17 so bad, and when those guys come back, it is a different Rams team, that's for sure. Let's flip over to the other side here. We got the Raiders offense against the Rams defense. So the Rams defense ranking 29th in the NFL, little under 400 yards a game. Got to get that number down a little bit. Good chance to do it against the 26th ranked offense out of the Vegas Raiders. Passing the ball, the Raiders middle of the pack, 17th in the league, and the Rams defense 28th, giving up 215 a game. Running the ball, the Rams defense dead last, 32nd in the NFL, going against, though, a team that isn't putting up 80 rushing yards a game, 31st ranked run offense out of the Raiders. Points being scored, the Raiders putting up a little over 18 or a little over 18, geez. And that's tied for 26. The Rams giving up almost 28, that is 29th in the league. The Raiders are picking up a third of their third downs, that's 25th, and the Rams giving up 44.2, that is 24th in the NFL. Again, that last week, like a couple weeks ago, against the Green Bay Packers, they only picked up 1 of 8, so Rams numbers definitely took a spike there on third down, which is good news. And overall, I think that the Rams did do a decent job in that game. Overall, I think the third quarter was it, especially looking back on it. And it's like the third quarter, it seems like the Packers just came out with a plan to attack, because that first half, the Rams dominated it. Score-wise, it was only a 3-point game going into halftime, but feel-wise, Packers had done nothing. They had that deep ball, which, Akello, what are you doing? You gotta, Akello, come on, man. And Q also, man, Quentin Lake, what are you doing out there, man? That was that deep ball was like, yo, guys. It was worse on TV, I will say that. Watching it live, it was like, damn, what a catch. But live or on TV, it was like, yo, defense, heads up, bro. What are you doing out here? But either way, I think that the Rams defense, I think overall played really well in that game. I think overall the Rams outplayed the Packers, but just weren't able to put it all together. Had a couple of those issues as we got a little bit closer. That's kind of seems to be par for the course right now, though. It does sound like McVay, by the way, is willing to start getting some reps to other linebackers, but it does sound like Troy Reeder and Christian Roseboom will still be your starters. But it sounds like, according to the Sean McVay show, that guys like Omar Speights might start getting some reps here and there. We'll see how those percentages go over the course of the year. Something that I kind of want to keep track on when Speights does start to get some playing time is I want to see how many snaps he's getting, that snap percentage, and what we're doing with him. Is it increasing every week? Is it here and then it's low and then it's a little high and then it's low again? Because that will tell us how the Rams are feeling about his play and whether or not he will take over a starting role by the time the season ends. Darius Williams, his return was definitely felt, but so was his rust. So He's got to get a little bit more settled in. There was that play, that deep ball in the third quarter to Tyler Kraft, where I felt like Darius Williams had terrible effort on it. It's some leniency because, first of all, I'm not a football player, and also because it was his first game back. So there is a little bit of leniency on my end for that. But, I mean, either way, we want to see those plays get made. It seemed like he just kind of walked him to the end zone a little bit. Rams run defense needs something, some kind of spark, right? The Raiders run offense is rough. This could be a good chance for the Rams to gain some confidence back in that world. So we'll kind of see how that unfolds. Feels like we need somebody to step up when it comes to run stuffing very specifically. That brings us to our best matchup of the week. I'm going to go with Byron Young versus that beat-up right side of the Raiders line. Of course, watching the injury report as the week goes on, and it is only Wednesday, so not a good injury report to look at and doesn't really tell us much. So by the time I'm looking at banged-up dudes on the injury report on Wednesday, a lot of things change. A lot of people get added, people get removed. It's all kind of chaos, so that's why I don't really dive into too much injury stuff. But right guard and right tackle dealing with some stuff. So we'll see what BY is able to do on that end there. Rushing O'Connell will be huge this week, though. Byron having a big day could be very, very good for the LA Rams. Your 3 to see on the defensive side, we're going to open it up with Jared Verse. I'm putting him here until it happens, all right? This is every week until it happens, all right? He's getting close, and it is only a matter of time until he's getting home. Too many missed tackles. That does need to stop, but I can feel it. It's coming, dude. It is coming. Next up on your 3 to see is Kobe Turner, the Rams' current sack leader, and needs to just go ahead and get a bunch more. Get that streak going, man. Get those sacks rolling. Force the quarterback into some other dudes for sacks. You know, if he can get some pressure and force an O'Connell to turn right into the arms of a Verse or something like that, could be pretty sick. But such a leader of this defense, man. And only in his second year, are we watching the sophomore season of a Hall of Fame career? I think it's time to start asking those questions, because we could be asking that same exact question when it comes to Puka Nacua as well. And I just think that overall, we got to look at these last few draft classes out of the LA Rams and say, who might be a guy, like an actual, like a guy, you know what I mean? Like a Hall of Famer. Could we see a bronze version of Kobe Turner's dome sitting in Canton one day? I think so, man. I think it's possible for sure. So also, he feels like if the Rams get a spark on defense as far as stuffing the run, feels like it's him. It feels like he's doing a Michael Brockers role in an Aaron Donald world, man. I didn't plan that sentence, and that's so funny to me. That's such a good line. He is playing a Michael Brockers role in an Aaron Donald world. And what I mean by that is he is eating up a bunch of other blocks. He's taking on double teams and all this stuff to free up other guys when we need a guy to just shed a one-on-one and get through there or plow through some double teams. God, that's so funny, dude. Oh my God, I stand by that so hard. That's so good. Oh man, I'm going to pat my own back on that one for a while. I also didn't write down a third of my 3 to see, so I'm going to dome this one real quick. I'm going to go, let's see here. I don't know, why did I do just 2 to see? That's not enough people to see. We need at least one more. Let's see, 3 to see. You're watching the process. This is how I do it. So let's go with Quentin Lake, man. All right. And I almost want to go with secondary in general, but let's go with Quentin Lake because he is the captain here, and he needs to be the one to spark this unit. We have seen Trey White be a healthy scratch. We'll see what happens there regarding his availability this week and on Thursday night football against the Vikings. But overall, man, Okello coming back. We've seen some rust, but we've seen some good stuff. Darius Williams coming back. We've seen some rust, but we've seen some good stuff. I think that overall, we're in a spot right now where we are seeing some good plays, but just inconsistent play in the secondary. And I just think we need a spark there. Quentin Lake needs to be a guy who honestly just gets like 3 picks and one for a touchdown or something like in a game, and just be like, see guys, we could do this, you know. Jalen getting that pick 6 obviously was super, super exciting. Jordan Love's first career pick six. It happened to be a UDFA and Jalen McCullough. Like, he's going to tell that story forever. And I absolutely love that. I think that's one of my favorite things about that moment is that, like, Byron Young, first of all, get the sack, dude. What are you doing? But also for Jalen, man, to be able to say like, oh yeah, I was undrafted by the Rams and I barely made the roster, and then I picked off Jordan Love at SoFi Stadium and took it to the house. Like, like I said, his version of that story is probably so sick, and I'd love to hear that in like 30 years. Jalen McCullough telling his story there. So that is it. Your 3 to see on the Rams defensive side. Verse Turner Lake. Connections on this one. Former Rams who are now on the Raiders. So we have Darius Swinton II. He was with the Rams St. Louis days, 09 to 11. Running back coach Carnell Williams, Cadillac. He was with the Rams in 2011. Cornerback coach Rocky Manning. He was with the Rams 06, 07, so a while back. Guard Jordan Meredith. Maybe a name you recognize, maybe not. He was with the Rams in 21. Limited time. And wide receiver, Alex Bachman. He spent some time with the Rams post-Super Bowl loss against the Patriots. That was 2019. Bachman spent some time with the Rams. Former Raiders who are now with the Rams. Quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. He was with them, of course, last year. And senior offensive assistant, Jerry Sholplinski. Pretty sure I nailed that. Yeah. And let's see. NFL connections. So we have Hunter Long. He played in Miami with defensive tackle John Jenkins, defensive tackle Adam Butler, and defensive tackle Christian Wilkins. I didn't realize that they just like took their whole grouping over to Vegas there. Matthew Stafford. He played in Detroit with running back Amir Abdullah. Jimmy Garoppolo played in New England with Adam Butler. Kevin Dotson played in Pittsburgh with linebacker Robert Spillane. D. Will played in Jacksonville with Gardner Minshew. Kayvon Calavon? Whoa, why am I brain farting on that name right now, Chaselon? And defensive coordinator Mike Caldwell. They all played in Jacksonville together. Troy Reeder played with the Chargers with wide receiver Jalen Guyton. And Cam Curl played in Washington with Q Blue Kelly. Colby Parkinson played in Seattle with cornerback Q Blue Kelly. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that one right. As well as Ben Brown. And Sean McVay was an offensive assistant in Tampa with running back Carnell Williams, Cadillac. I remember being so fired up, dude, when the Rams signed Cadillac Williams. And who else was it? Jarius Norwood that year. I was like, yo. Which is so funny to think of now. Like, we got Cadillac and Jarius, dude. We're unstoppable. Some college connections for you. Cam Kinchens played at Miami with defensive tackle Nesta Jade Silvera. Sweet name. Wasn't even going to put that one on here because I'd never heard that before, but that's such a cool Nesta. Sweet name. Love that. Cam Curl and Bo Limmer played at Arkansas with tackle Dalton Wagner and Colby Parkinson and Ron Gould, Rams running back coach. They were together at Stanford with cornerback Q Blue Kelly. The guy's all over the place. Some milestones that we're looking at for this matchup. Matthew Stafford, he does need 16 completions to pass Dan Marino for 9th most in NFL history. Probably will get that this weekend. Needs 67 completions, so we've got a few weeks for this one left, to pass Kurt Warner, 5th most in franchise history. So creeping up there as well, and will officially have more pass attempts as a Ram than Bob Waterfield in his next 18 throws. So we'll probably see that take place at SoFi Stadium on Sunday. Maybe he'll go 18 for 16 and pass Bob Waterfield on Rams pass attempts and pass Dan Marino for completions in NFL history. Would be pretty sick. Kyren Williams, let's take a peek here. He needs 58 rushing yards to pass Johnny Drake for 25th most in franchise history. He needs 1 rushing touchdown to tie John Arnett for 18th most in franchise history. Needs 2 rushing touchdowns to tie Cullen Bryant and Willie Ellison for 16th in franchise history. And his 22 touchdowns since the start of the 23 season does lead the NFL. I thought that was just cool, though, getting, 2 more rushing touchdowns. He tied with Cullen Bryant, who you might remember scored a touchdown for the Super Bowl for the Rams against the Steelers. That's pretty cool stuff. I live in Colorado Springs, Colorado, which obviously, Cullen Bryant, Colorado Buffalo. I point that way because their school's like 2 hours that way. But Cullen Bryant actually, he lived in my city. His final years were in my city, and he died in his home in Manitou Springs, which is essentially just my city. Like, it's kind of like how, I don't know, like Inglewood in LA kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just Colorado Springs. So, yeah, he died in his studio apartment in Manitou Springs, which is unfortunate. But I actually met him one time at the bus stop. He rode the city bus here, and I remember I was sitting downtown, or I wasn't downtown. I was at the Citadel Mall in Colorado Springs, sitting there waiting for the bus. I was in high school at the time, and I'm sitting there wearing my Rams hat. And there's this guy sitting next to me at the bus stop. And he's like, "Hey, you're a Rams fan?" I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, I'm a big Rams fan." Like, you know, and we're terrible at the time. I was in high school, so this was like, oh wait, you know. And I just remember him being like, "Oh, that's cool, man. I used to play football." I was like, "Oh, right on. I love football." Like, you know, whatever. He's like, "Yeah, I actually played for the Rams too." And it's like, "No way, that's awesome." And then I didn't recognize him, you know. And then, yeah, he had mentioned the Super Bowl and stuff like that. And he had mentioned that, you know, and then he said Cullen, and it was like, oh my gosh, like I'm sitting at a bus terminal at the Citadel Mall with Rams Super Bowl touchdown scorer Cullen Bryant, dude. Like, it was just super, super cool. I absolutely loved that. So I just wanted to share that story with you. Cullen Bryant and Kyren Williams could be tying Cullen Bryant for Rams touchdowns with just a couple more. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah, and that's 16th in franchise history as well. Kyren is flying up those lists. He's getting up there real quick, which is very exciting stuff. We got